Hello, we are live. I'm good to go. Just tuck my chair in and get a few people in the room before we start the live. I'm just going to take a glug of water while we wait for people to arrive. Arrivederci. No, that's goodbye, isn't it? We'll wait for people to arrive. Hopefully I can get you on my iPad. Right, get the glasses on. Hello, Heather. How are you this evening? Nice to see that you're watching. Come on in, help yourself to nibbles and all of that. I've got that light just there, so if you can see it in my glasses, I do beg your pardon. How are you anyway, Heather, this morning? Ali's watching. Ali's coming on a little later on. We've got the lovely Hayley West, first of all, for you. So we've got a really good, exciting lineup for you tonight. So super excited about that. Juliet is watching. Katie's watching. Good to have your company, everyone. Really nice to see you. I'm just trying to set my iPad up so I can actually view your comments and reply to them as well, because sometimes it plays up a little bit. But anyway, I'll see your comments on there. Abby, how are you? I'm going to get you on my live. I'm going to message you afterwards because I need you to come on my live. So it'd be lovely to see you. Sally's watching. Hello, Sally. How are you? Tremaine is watching. How are you? I hope you're well. Sally Ann, good evening, she says. Good evening, Janice. Good evening back to you. Nice to see you. Emma. Heather King, nice to see you as well. What have you all been up to today? Have you been busy? Have you been crafting? Have you been doing some projects? Have you been out walking? The weather's been a little bit better today, hasn't it? I've been up at Highlight Crafts today, so it was an early start, early drive. Sorry, I'm rocking the camera. It was an early start today, so up the M1, not too bad drive, which was okay. And then a show with Amanda, a show with John, and then 2 shows with Amanda again. So you'll be able to see those again. And I do believe, actually, that I'm clashing a little bit with Highlight Crafts now because they are going live, and they're going live on YouTube as well. Stay with me. Or have that on the tablet and have this on your iPhone. Right, so just to catch you up so far, I will put all of the lives that I'm doing now on my Facebook. They'll be available to view for 60 days. However, you can go to my YouTube channel, Janice Phillips TV, and subscribe if you can. I would love you to do so. It's free to do so, and here's the reason why. When I get to 1,000 subscribers, I can start streaming live on YouTube, which is going to make it a little better because you'll be able to see it in better quality. Probably not me in better quality, but you'll be able to see it in better quality. And maybe we'll change things up a little bit so we can have a better screenage. But for now, I've really enjoyed doing them on my phone. I really enjoyed inviting people in on my phone as well. So that's where we're at. So if you can follow me on my Facebook, I'd really appreciate that. Janice Phillips TV. And then subscribe to YouTube as well. I'd really appreciate that because together we're building something really special here, which is brilliant, bringing people together, which is what it's all about. Okay, Emma, you've done nothing all day. Done nothing all day. Unfortunately, unemployed at the moment. Well, Emma, same here, really. Apart from today, but that's good. Sometimes it's good to have a rest. Or do some crafting instead. Lynn, lovely to see you. Gillian, nice to see you as well. Sorry if I've missed anyone. Sharon, Diana, hi Janice, I'm making the winter bookmark at the moment. Oh, very nice, very nice. Hope everyone's got their tree up. We got ours up yesterday. We've got a couple of trees actually this time. So we've got one in the hallway and one in the lounge. So we've bought some lights. So the house is in a bit of a mess in the moment because everything's everywhere. You know, that transitional period when you put your tree up and you're moving everything around to accommodate. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. I've got some lights to go outside as well. So I'm excited about putting them in. I'm just going to try and move my chair. Hang on a second because it's caught on the back of the carpet. There you go. I do like a good fidget to move around. Catherine, good to see you. Dawn, hello. I hope you're well. Dawn says hello to everybody. Feel free to chat amongst yourselves as well as getting your questions in for our great guests that we've got here on our Facebook Live, who I'm going to introduce in a moment's time. I finished making the tree decorations, says Claire. Nice. Hayley West is in the building, everyone. Should we get her on? If I go down to the bottom, let's just do that. If I go along to the bottom, if you select the 2 people at the bottom there, Hayley, then I'll invite you on and we can get cracking. because it's going to be a nice night. It's going to be great to chat with Hayley again. And of course, Ali, who I've seen a few times at Highlight Crafts, but we haven't really had a decent catch up. So it's going to be great to speak to her as well. Hello, Trudy. Hello, Karen. So Hayley West on TV. Tap the icon at the bottom of your screen. It should be down there. There you go. Let's tap on that. Let's approve. I don't want to block. Send invitation. Okay, so down there, a little bit like University Challenge, which is all good. Hopefully, with all the internet working, it's going to be all right. Here she is. Did you get yours from the NEC as well?
I can't remember about it ages. You know
I
me. I can't remember last week, let alone any further beyond that.
yeah, I got mine at the NEC when we were there with Hochanda back in the day.
Oh, wow.
And I remember seeing it, and I asked Paula to get it for me because I left and I got home and I thought, I wish I'd have got that. So Paula picked it up. Isn't that
I
funny?
think it may well have been there, to be fair. Yeah.
Yeah, probably was. How are you, Hayley?
All right. Yeah, not
Yeah.
too bad. A bit warmer today, thankfully.
Oh, God, it's been freezing, hasn't it?
Yeah, with the kind of fence has been doing this, and it's like,
Oh,
oh no, but yeah.
that's a job I need to do outside. Actually, one of my fences. What do I sound like? Part of the fence that we've got has fallen forward, so I've got to do a bit of concreting on that.
Yeah. I
But
mean, we've got off quite
yeah,
lightly. I mean, when you hear about other things that have gone on, but yeah, yeah.
yeah. Have you been at work today?
I've not been working from home today, so pretty much every day is a work day. It just depends on where I am. So here, there, and
Oh,
everywhere. Been in the cabin today, and I've got some online training that I'm doing tomorrow with some people in Saudi Arabia. Would you believe? So
oh
that's
my
going to be an
word!
interesting one.
What are you doing
Mm.
there? Well, not what you're doing there. What are you doing with them?
It's sewing machine. So yeah, there's a sewing machine that I'm kind of training up the dealers so they know how to pass on the information to their customers. So it's an embroidery machine. So it's a sewing machine, an
Yeah.
embroidery machine, and the software as well.
Is it a little bit different training people like that than it is demonstrating to crafters?
Well, ask me in about 24 hours.
Yeah,
I've
come
done
back on
live.
tomorrow.
That's it. I've done live training in the UK, and you're only ever as good as the internet, aren't you?
Yeah,
Really. So, yeah. It's touch wood. It should be okay.
yeah.
But yeah, we're in the hands of the old Tinternet. So
Wow.
fingers crossed it'll be okay.
That's
I'm already at this end, so it might be just a whole pile of PDFs that get sent by email.
oh, well, that would be fabulous. Hayley, I remember the first time I met you was back in the Ideal World days.
Oh
I
my
remember,
goodness.
yeah, I remember you used to come along. And I always remember because you always used to look so smart. That was my first impression. I was like, who's that smart lady?
You
And
got
then
me mixed up with somebody else, I'm sure.
that's when you had your hair like a pixie cut, really
Oh,
short. Do you remember?
my hair has gone up and down. Do you remember, is it Girls' World that you could have the hair that would grow and then you could
Yeah.
kind of wind it back in again? That's me.
I've got something like that down my allotment actually that I use as a scarecrow, but all the birds have gone down and pecked out the hair. It's quite
Yeah.
funny. But I do
But yeah, it's
remember
funny.
that.
It's funny going back, and when I left Create and Craft, they did like an outtakes,
Did
and
they?
I think it's about 3 minutes long and 15 haircuts. So yeah,
I love
quite a
and
variety.
something else that struck me about you as well is your laugh. I loved
Oh,
it.
don't.
You've got a real sort of like cheeky, naughty laugh, haven't
It's
you?
a proper laugh. It's a belly laugh. So
It is.
yeah, there's no getting away from it. It's yeah, it is me. That's just me.
But when you first came to Ideal World, I think that was when you were with Create and Craft. Were you doing the silhouette when you first came?
Well, going back, and I mean, some people tuning in now, they might know me for kind of demonstrating all those years back.
Yeah.
Maybe not, because yeah, I've actually been involved in shopping TV now, probably heading for 20 years.
Wow.
Which is quite scary when you say it out loud. Yeah, the kids, the kids, they're 24 in January, and they were kind of at reception school when I started, so it's got to be coming up to 20 years now. And I ended up having kind of like a portfolio of different companies that I worked for. So I think one point, I think I've got about 15, 16 different companies that I worked for. So
Really?
yeah, it's backwards and forwards doing all sorts. And that was when we kind of all shared a green room, which was
Yeah.
nice until they kind of
They
separated us up.
kind of put the wall up, didn't they, in between
Well,
both of
too
us?
much trouble.
How did you get to TV though? I mean, how did you transfer from what you were doing in your everyday life, your job, and then going on TV?
Well, it was none of it was ever planned, to be honest. But I mean, that's life in general, isn't it? Most of the jobs I've got through life have been through people I know or situations that I've been in and word of mouth. So networking, although they
Yeah,
talk as networking being like a new thing, it's gone on for donkey's years.
yeah, yeah. It
It's kind of
has.
who you know, not necessarily what you know, isn't it? But it
Yeah.
started because I had a craft shop way, way, way back. And it's a bit of a boring story, but I'll give you the kind of short version. I went to a trade show and I fell in love with some gorgeous foiled papers, and they were absolutely gorgeous, perfect for crafting, perfect to go in my craft shop. But they didn't have a UK distributor, so the only way I could get hold of them was by buying a pallet load. So it's like, yeah, that's okay, I get pallet load, and then it was delivered. It's like, okay, there's a lot on a pallet.
Ah, yeah. Pallets can
And
go up.
absolutely, yeah. So we happened to be going to the NEC because I was one of the first UK companies to distribute a range of dyes, and I don't know whether anybody watching today will recognise them. They were called Quick Cuts, and
All
they were
right.
little wafer thin dies, and they were no bigger than kind of 2 inches square. And you used to have to put them in, it's almost like a vice type thing, big pair of pliers. And you had to have like muscles like Arnold Schwarzenegger to actually cut them out. And I used to kind of distribute them. There's only a couple of companies in the UK that used to bring them across from America. And we were at the NEC just around the corner from Create and Craft, who were doing one of their outside
That was when
broadcasts.
it was at
So
Neem Road.
that's
Yeah,
yeah, it wasn't even down
yeah,
by the Sainsbury's. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
No, that's what it was,
yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah. And there was a
Oh,
lady there.
Hayley,
Yeah.
Ali Reeve said she actually had
Still
that
got,
machine you're talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Honestly, I've probably got one tucked away somewhere. Yeah, but and they were, I mean, they were brilliant because they were kind of pioneers at the time. The only other alternative we had was the big Sizzix chunky dies that
Yeah.
were almost like a one-arm bandit machine again. So anyway, these little dies, and they were the first kind of dies that came along that gave you multiple layers, so you could build up characters, and you
Yeah.
could have like a bell with a little bow on it and things like that, rather than it just being an outline shape. So anyway, we were at the NEC with those. It's quite an eventful show, actually. I remember somebody. It's it's one of those memories. Not necessarily a nice memory, certainly not for the person involved. But I remember at the end of one of the days, literally somebody ran off with their till, and all the people were shouting,
Oh
"Stop them!
my!
Stop them! Stop!" How you can run away with a till? I mean, yeah. But anyway, somebody was
The
trying it.
cheek
But yeah, that
of
stuck in my
it.
mind. I
The
know. I
cheek
know.
of it. Oh my days.
So anyway, we were around the corner from Crate and Craft's outside broadcast, and there were a couple of buyers on there. I don't know whether you remember Jo Collier.
I do.
She was one of the
Yes.
she was one of the craft buyers. I think she lives out in France now. So I
Yeah.
popped round there and said, "Look, and if it's anything you're interested in," and it was. Came a 1 day special, and that was it. And then it was a case of I was developing CD-ROMs and teaching myself how to build a website, teaching myself how to do digital arts and stuff like that. Everything I've done has been self-taught.
That's amazing.
And then started selling different things. And then they started saying, "Oh, we've got somebody who needs a demonstrator. Are you interested?" And it kind of the ripples went out. So I noticed Ali had put squeezy cards. So yeah, DigiCrafts was one of the companies I worked with. There's another lovely company. They were based in France called Ooh La La, and
Ooh
again
la
they were
la.
CD-ROMs. So loads of different companies. And I kind of twilighted a little bit when Jodie was on holiday for Tonic,
Yeah.
and yeah,
So
it's quite a few. I've been
you've got
around.
you've been around, girl. But you are so well known for your
Oh,
sewing
well,
machines,
yes, that is
but
my first love.
also for your designs as well. So
Mm.
when you say that sewing was your first love, why didn't you sort of like try and bring that as part of your crafting originally? Why was it dyes?
There wasn't a massive market for it really.
Okay.
At the time, and I've always done card making, always done dressmaking and sewing. That tended to be more for myself though.
Yeah.
So it it was almost like I don't know, that was my kind of unwinding and doing my own thing kind of thing. So it wasn't, I didn't see that as being work
Yeah,
as such.
I get that.
Um,
I get
and
that.
it was kind of separate, but obviously fashions change and people's interests change. And I think it was Create and Craft originally, they didn't realize that I knew so much about sewing
Right.
until there was a company that had literally got a container full of yarn that they needed to turn back into money, for the want of a better phrase. So they asked it, "Oh, can you knit?" And that was it. So yeah, and then it's like, "Oh, okay, so you can knit, can you sew? Can you do that?" And all of a sudden, they'd got somebody that could do those things. So yeah,
And I
yeah.
bet that was really nice though to go from although
Hi,
sometimes when
Mandy. Sorry,
sometimes when
stopped it.
that's all right. Um, when something is, you like your hobby and you bring it to your work, it kind of doesn't. It's then not your hobby anymore.
Mm,
So it was quite a brave thing to go forward with the sewing, knowing that that was going to be part of a career path that, well, you do so well. But what about the development of sewing within the craft industry? Because we've got
hmm.
Sewing Street now. On Create and Craft, we used to have Seamless Sunday, for example.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Yeah.
it's big business now with the sewing being all sorts.
It is, and I think it's one of those situations that sometimes think people think sewing is a lot more trickier than it actually is.
Yeah,
Um, I liken it a lot to paper crafting, which sounds a bit strange, but whereas you've got your mats and layers are kind of like a form of applique,
yeah,
except you use stitches to keep them together instead of glue.
yeah.
So it's not that different to thinking about. It's just the actual stuff that you're working with, really.
It's a
And
good way of thinking about it, isn't it?
yeah, and it's kind of one of those things that, well, one of my phrases that I've often used is "give it a go, or you'll never know."
Yeah.
And it's something that you might try making a simple project, and you might love it and get bitten by the bug, or you might say, "Okay, yeah, done that, tick the box, never again." And
Well, I got my sewing
you
machine out, Hayley.
did,
I made
yes.
a quilt. I made a holder for Jane for her. Oh, some breaking news about Man United. Don't know what it is. We don't worry about that. Um, and I made some cushions as well. Did you see them? I'm sure
It
people are sick of
did,
seeing them. Yeah.
yeah,
So I'm
fabulous, good.
like you said, you never know if you don't give it a go. But one thing I'm not good at, well, I've not tried really, is like dressmaking. But
Okay,
you do you do
I
that,
do
don't you?
do that,
Yeah.
don't I?
In fact, you made me a t-shirt, didn't you? With a fox on
I
it.
did, yes. Gosh, yeah, the Titanic t-shirts for the sports day.
I've got it. I've got it.
Oh, that was an eventful day, wasn't it? We should have won that. We should have won it. I'm not that I'm bitter.
Never bitter, never twisted. Just to let you know, we are Leicester City fans, myself and Hayley, and of course your other half is a
Absolutely.
huge Leicester City fan. So it's always
Yes.
good to see you guys down the football. It really
Oh,
is.
bless you. Yeah.
But what about your business? Your development. Of course, you're with Hobby Maker now, but are you also on Sewing Street?
Yeah, I don't get to present on Sewing Street very often. And again, at Hobby Maker, it just tends to be if people are on holiday or they're off sick or there's
Yeah,
a kind of a gap in the schedule. I'm not one of their kind of um, uh, staple
yeah,
presenters, I suppose that you call it. I'm not on the rota. So I love it whenever I can manage to get in there. And it's a similar sort of idea with Sewing Street.
yeah,
Sewing Street only has one presenter a day. So that
yeah.
means seven presenters a week. So it's quite difficult to kind of get a slot. But when I do get a slot, oh my goodness, I love it. I'm actually in on Boxing Day. So if
Are
anybody's around
you?
Boxing Day, yeah, I'm going to be on my own Boxing Day with loads of fabulous things to share with everybody. So that, yeah. But I
Um,
do go onto Sewing Street with my handmade by Hayley things.
yes. How is Handmade by Hayley going? What kind of products have you got
It's
out at the moment?
it's going very, very well. Again, I tend to only kind of design things and make things that's purposeful for me. So a bit
Yeah.
selfish, really. But what I figure is that if it's purposeful for me, then hopefully it will be somebody else. I don't design for design's sake because
No.
I think it's a bit disrespectful to expect people to kind of part with the money two or three times for something that's very, very similar.
Yeah,
So
I get
yeah,
that.
yeah, so that's where the shacket, the Tallulah shacket, named after the
Yeah.
motorhome, came about because that was something that I used to quite often wear, kind of like a denim jacket that I'd throw over t-shirt and jeans, and then I used to like embellishing them, and people would say, "Oh, where did you get that from?" And I thought, well, I need more of these myself.
Yeah,
And if people are asking for it, maybe they'll be interested in buying the actual pattern. And it's kind of broke a lot of records at Sewing Street because of
that's
the popularity
amazing.
of it, which I was totally blown away because it was came about because I wanted one. I only wanted one for
But
me.
do, do you know what, Hayley? I think that's the best way to design things because if you like it, well, number one, you're a crafter. You're a seasoned crafter because you've been in the industry for a long time. You know about dyes, you know about sewing, you know about crafters, you know what crafters want because you are one.
Mm.
So if you want it, it's kind of guaranteed that someone else is going to want it as well, isn't it?
Yeah, but you never quite know. And a lot, and I'm sure Ali will say this later on, that when you actually design something and you bring something to the channels, there's a little bit of doubt in that back of your mind is it gonna be something that people want? Because you open yourself up, you're giving a little bit of yourself
Yeah.
when you're actually doing these things. So it's almost you're opening up yourself to vulnerability, which yeah.
So when you took it to Sewing Street for the first time and you go through the development of it, was there any point in the development of that particular pattern that you thought, oh, I'm not quite sure of this? Was there any moment that you very nearly didn't bring it to us?
No, because I thought, well, give it a go, or you never know. But it was one of those situations that I needed to make sure that it was achievable for people, because that's
Yep.
something else that's important to me. I love that sense of achievement that you often see with people when they think that they can't do something, but it's like, well,
Yeah.
God, I can actually do this. I can actually sew. I've actually made myself something. So it was kind of simplifying things to make it achievable. So that particular pattern, I wanted to make sure that it hadn't got any kind of shaping or darts, the things that frighten people, although
Yeah,
they're pretty
absolutely.
simple to do. But by taking that out of the pattern, they haven't got to think about doing that
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
And then as time goes on, they might make something that's a bit more fitted, that's got the darts in and all of that kind of thing. But when you get started, you don't need that hurdle.
Yeah.
Just get your
Yeah.
confidence. And then if you find a pattern that suits you and you're happy with, then it's a bit like shoes, isn't it? You buy them in every colour.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What would you say is that if someone's got their sewing machine in a box like I did, I mean, I know what I did when I first got mine out, but what would you say is the first project that people should do to build that confidence?
It doesn't actually have to be a
Okay.
project. It's kind of just get some fabrics out and familiarize yourself with the actual machine. So get to know what all the buttons and the dials do and things like that. And there are so many different projects out there that you can get hold of that are simple kind of, you don't have to be putting zips in place, a little kind of pocket to actually put things like your tablet in or your phone in, things
Yeah.
like that, or a placemat, just
Yeah.
something that gets you actually trying maybe the decorative stitches that you've got on your machine so you can kind of understand that if you move this slider, the stitches are bigger. If you move that
Yeah.
slider, you zigzag wider. And just, yeah, gaining your confidence of the tool that you've got
It's
more so than,
important.
oh, what can I make? But then the
Yeah.
passion of making something can sometimes get you through it.
Yeah.
Lovely Katrina from Rowan. I often
Oh,
used to ask her when I was presenting, which kit would you suggest for a beginner? And she would say, well, I don't go down that route. I say, which kit talks to you? Which one have you fallen in love with?
yeah.
Because that passion will get you through to that final
Totally agree.
stage. Yeah.
When I first got my machine out, I got a charm pack, so the squares, and I thought, right, I'll just stitch them together in a chain,
Hmm.
which I
Hmm.
did. And then I thought, well, I've got four chains here, so I'll put those together. And I actually made a quilt. And then I kind of put a border around. I didn't know what I was doing, but I gave it a go, which was great. And then do you know what my second project was? I put new zips in my sofas.
Yeah.
don't, don't
Wow. Gosh, that's quite a project.
It is quite the project. It took me all day. There was a lot of swearing. They're not the best, but
But
I
did you
did
do
it.
it?
I did it. I did it.
That's
That's
it.
the main thing. I'm
No,
never going to do it again, though.
but well, this is it. But you've learned from it, so
Yeah,
and it also makes you appreciate that when you actually ask somebody to do it for you, or you take it somewhere to get something done, just because time, people don't think
Mm.
about it's the old adage, isn't it? Oh, you can do that in half an hour. Yeah, but it's taken me 20 years to learn that.
Do you know
So
what? You're so right, because I was asking so many people, can you replace some zips for me in sofas? And they'd, I'll pay you, blah, blah, blah. And I'd talk to people and they'd be, oh, I'm a bit busy this week. Oh, I'm too. And I thought, why are you too busy to do some work? I wonder what it is. I'm going to pay the
mm,
price. And then I realised the hassle
it's
it is
yeah,
to
yeah,
replace zips like that. So I get it. I totally get it,
yeah, yeah.
which is brilliant. Should we move on to motorhomes, Hayley?
You can do if you want to.
Yeah, your passion with motorhomes has grown, hasn't
Oh,
it?
oh yes. Started off with Mavis. So, well, actually, it started off prior to that because during lockdown, I mean, we love going away anyway. And during lockdown, we wanted to get away, but of course, you couldn't go to hotels and things like that. So, the only way that you could actually go away is by hiring something like a motorhome, or if you had a caravan.
Yeah.
So, we hired a motorhome for a week, 10 days, something like that. And we ended up in Whitby. We love Whitby. And we just loved it. So we kind of said, yeah, and that's something I would suggest to anybody that's thinking about getting either a caravan or a motorhome is to hire one first,
Just to
especially with
try
a
it.
motorhome. Just try it because it's quite an
Mm.
expense, and it could be an expensive mistake if you don't enjoy it.
Yeah, do you know what? That is so true. And there's so many different types. I mean,
Hmm.
if anyone's got a motorhome who's watching now, please give your advice, because there are so many different types. You've got the beds down the back, you've got the lounge down the back, you've got the kitchen down the back.
So different
There's all,
layouts.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Which one did you go for?
Well, when the one that we hired was a very new motorhome, and it got one of these beds that kind of come down out of the
Oh,
roof on,
oh.
which is very,
Did you
very
press the
clever.
button and then it
Yes,
comes down?
yeah,
Yeah, I've
yeah.
seen them.
And
I've
David
seen
pressed
them.
the button, and yeah, yeah, I went back up. So it's like,
Not whilst you're in it.
no, no,
You imagine
did
what's
threaten
going.
it.
Oh, oh, what would you do? Well, there's nothing you could do.
Not really that. But yeah, so that was the first one, and it was a lovely motorhome, way beyond what we could actually afford at the time. So David, bless him, this is the beauty of living with somebody that's got OCD. They love doing research. So I'm like, yeah, just carry on, fill your
Yeah.
boots. When you made a decision, give me two or three, and then yeah, I'll give you my opinion. So off he scurries, and he gets all the information, and he managed to find one that he liked the layout of, and it was within our budget. And that was actually one where we got twin beds down the far end, and it was a lovely
Were they
layout. It was
like
an auto.
seats as well? So you
Well,
got your
no,
seats that turn
these were
into beds.
fixed beds. These were
Oh, were
fixed
they?
beds. So I'm not one of these ones that likes to un, kind of unpack everything
Yeah.
and make the bed up and then put everything away. So we had there was twin beds down the back, and there was like loads and loads of storage. There was a proper wardrobe and all sorts. And then it had got, I think it was four seat belts. So if we needed to take the
Yeah.
kids, who weren't 23 then, but they weren't far off it, then there was plenty of room there. And it was, as I say, it was something for us to try, and we had it. I think it was 2 or 3 years, something like that. But when we hired the motorhome, we said, "Oh, next year," because this was around Whitsun time.
Yeah.
Next year, we will buy a motorhome. So by July, we bought one.
Yeah. That's
The actual
well,
years.
do you know what? That is fabulous, because at least you made the decision to do so. You've got two lovely dogs, haven't you?
We have, yeah. I'm amazed that they're not in
I
here,
know, I was going to
kind
say,
of, but yeah.
are they not scuttling? I don't think Millie's in here, is she? Let me check. Sometimes she's, no, she's, oh,
I think
she
they're
is.
in. Phoebe's busy wrapping presents in the
Oh,
lounge,
is
so they're
she?
probably
Oh.
they can probably smell chocolate or something like that in there.
If they're anything like Millie, she just tears boxes apart. As soon as you bring a
Oh,
box in, it's like
all
and
right.
tears it apart. She's asleep at the
Oh,
moment in a
bless her.
basket. But do the dogs love it? And do you feel safe taking the dogs out? Because of course,
Yes,
when you open a door to a motorhome, you're opening the door to the
yes,
motorhome, and they can just run off. So have you got
yeah.
anything sort of in place to help
Yes, usually block them.
that?
Like, they are very good. I mean, they love it whenever the motorhome is here.
Yeah,
If because we've got the new one now, which has got the up and down bed thing
yeah,
that I was just talking about. It's given us so much more space, so it means that we can go away more so in winter.
Yeah.
So we've kind of got a dedicated area that's like a lounge area, a dedicated area that's a dining room, and then we've got the bed that kind of comes up and down. So we use it a lot more. We're actually going away to Bath Christmas Market next week, and
Oh,
the dogs
are
will come with
you?
us.
Oh,
So
Bath is
yeah,
beautiful, isn't it?
oh, I love Bath. So yeah, they've got their little seat belts. So when we
Oh,
get in, they're kind of hooked up.
oh, that's
Two
so
very
sweet.
different travellers, though.
Are they? How?
Kira's not very keen on it, but she knows that when she gets there, it's worth putting up with. So she's very she often she'll lie down. She quite often likes to kind of snuggle and go under things, and almost a bit like an ostrich, pretend it's not happening. Whereas Molly will literally just sit upright, and she'll
Yeah.
literally her eyes will be closing, but she won't lie down.
Oh, bless
So
her.
if we're traveling for like 4 hours, she's literally like just sat. It's like a little ornament the whole journey.
Again, that's like Millie. She just constantly wants to look out the window. She's like, "What's going on?
Yeah,
What's going on?"
yeah.
And as soon as she shuts her eyes, we're like, "Oh, thank goodness for that!" And then all of a sudden, she'll open her eyes and go, "What's going on?" So
That's
I know
yeah.
exactly what you mean.
Well,
Oh,
you
bless them.
see, Molly is Jack Russell
Is
cross,
she?
so crossed with the staffy. So yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
double trouble then.
Oh yes, we had her as a rescue, and I remember them saying, "Oh yeah, she's so quiet. You don't hear a peep out of her." And I said, She looks like she's got Jack Russell in her." And I thought, "No, if she has, then that's a bit of a porky pie."
You're in big trouble if you've got a Jack Russell. No, I love Millie to
They're very
pieces. I don't.
vocal.
Yeah, they're very vocal, but so are staffies, aren't they? They do that kind of chuntering thing where they just talk to you all the time.
Yeah,
They're so sweet.
and they do a lot of kind of.
Yeah.
They're a bit like. Do you remember those information adverts from when we were kids?
Charlie says,
That's it, like
Charlie
Charlie
says,
says.
Charlie says, when you cross the road. Oh, I used to love that. Charlie was a cat, wasn't
That's
he?
right.
I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh dear.
and he'd always have like a fishbone that he'd eaten for some reason. Don't know what that had to
Absolutely.
do with crossing the road, but yeah, that's funny. That's funny. So, what have you got anything exciting lined up for the near future?
Oh, well, we're in the midst of the 25 days of sewing with
Okay.
Handmade by Hayley. It's my digital advent calendar, and
Oh,
lovely Mandy who popped up earlier on. She's been busy, very busy making things from it already, and that's it's an annual thing that we do. It's
yeah,
the third year that we've done it, and it's like an advent calendar, but you get a digital download each day. So we send you a link, and then you can open the link up, and there's all sorts of different projects in there.
yeah.
And that came about because there's a lot of people that kind of Christmas is not a brilliant time of year
Mm.
for them. And we wanted that kind of that little bit of a community and daily contact through till Christmas. So that's how it all came about. So I've been busy with that. I had some interesting meetings last week. So we'll see what comes of those
Oh,
going
do tell.
forward. But
Can you give us any hints what they might be?
well, there might be a book in the offing, but we'll
Ooh,
see. We'll see. Because there's a lot of
ooh.
work involved with books. So yeah, it's got
Yeah,
to, yeah, we'll see how it all pans out. It's not something I particularly wanted to do,
yeah,
um, because I know not that there's a lot of work involved, but you've got to think of, this is again, trying to be a businesswoman, how you kind of manage your time so as you can earn your income,
yeah.
and you can
Have you?
spend a lot of time doing a lot of stuff that you don't necessarily reap the benefits. Sometimes it's an investment in you,
Yeah, I've
so
got
you
that.
do,
I've got that
yeah.
completely.
So
Yeah, uh,
sometimes you might not see a monetary gain, but it's an investment in you. It's an investment in you and your knowledge and stuff like that. So it's not always monetary, but equally so, you've got to think about that for the future.
yeah. Ali Rowland said, glad to hear other people thought Charlie the cat was incomprehensible. I thought it was just me, couldn't understand. No, nobody could. No, that's why I had the translator. So you've not had a book out before. This could be your
No,
first book.
no,
So we'll see.
I've never kind of pursued it really, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Well,
Um,
I'm
yeah,
excited for it, Hayley, because
so
you
yeah,
know
there's a few different kind of topics that were thrown around.
what, like
So yeah,
romance, sci-fi.
well, I always threatened to write a book about shopping TV and behind the scenes.
I shouldn't. Gossip from Hobby Maker for us. They had their Christmas party the other night. Any gossip?
Maybe.
Oh, you've got to tell. No one will be watching from Hobby Maker. You've got to give. You. You've got to give something away. You've got to give something away. I saw the pictures on
Well,
Facebook. Something must have
there's a
happened.
lot of it has already come out because obviously there's been announcements that we've got different suppliers coming as well.
Yeah,
But yeah, we had a lot of fun. They're a fabulous bunch. I mean,
yeah,
from TV shopping, it's some amazing characters in there.
yeah,
And so many, I mean, you'll remember Alan Marr.
yeah.
Remember really
Oh,
tall Alan?
absolutely.
Oh,
I've got a
he
great
was hilarious.
I've got a great picture of Alan with the other guys from Ideal World when they met. Oh, I'm going to fish this picture out. They made a really cool Christmas card picture, and they were all wearing Christmas jumpers. And I think they were all wearing wigs as well. And they were kind of all like they were all part of the same family, and they're all like looking in different directions. And they've got this like vignette around it. I'll find that picture and put it on Facebook because
Oh, that
that was
sounds
brilliant.
hilarious.
Oh, it
Well,
was.
yeah,
It was.
there was for some reason he got a picture of John Scott in his pocket, so everybody was like posing with this picture of John Scott throughout the evening, which was quite comical as well.
Oh,
But yeah, they're a good bunch. We have a laugh. We
yeah.
have to,
Oh, that's
don't you?
yeah. You've got to. It's what makes the world turn, isn't it? Hayley,
Absolutely.
can I say a huge thank you for coming on my Facebook
No
Live?
problem. Thank you for asking.
Uh, when am I going to see you in the flesh again? When are you coming down the football?
I don't know. Well, David's got a season ticket,
Yeah,
so I don't. But what he does sometimes do is try and get tickets for games when they're available. But sometimes
yeah.
it's not easy to get hold of them.
No, not at the minute. Now
Mm,
we've got Rude Van Nistelrooy. Whereabouts does he
absolutely.
sit? Where's it about? Does he sit in the stand? Not wishing to tell everybody where he sits, but
He's down by oh gosh, he's down by the goal area. I think it's the opposite end to where you
so
are
he's up near the
now.
family area. Then is he
Yes,
in the
yeah, I
west
think
stand?
so.
Is he in the west
I
stand?
think so. I can't remember now.
The posh stand.
Oh, I don't know. Then maybe not. I think
um,
he's not far from where all of the kind of the loud mob are, shall we
Ah,
say?
right. Okay. Well, I'll see him down football and hopefully you as well. I think the last time I saw you down there was when we were playing Newcastle at home. I'm sure it was. I'm
It
sure it
was.
was.
That was quite scary, actually.
I know, but they're a great bunch of fans when they
Yeah,
come.
it was like
Uh,
yeah, it's just yeah, they were very enthusiastic. But David was there last night, and via
some
Amazon we've had some thermals arrive today. So yes.
it was freezing, but it was fabulous. And I nearly left in the 89th minute with a lady sitting next to me because Jane didn't come with me. And she got up, she says, I'm going now. And I went, "Do you know what? I don't think we're going to come back from this." And as she walked past me, I went, "I'm just going to stay another minute," turn round, and we had the other two goals.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad I stayed. It was
That's usually
brilliant.
when David nips to the toilet.
Oh, talking about that, I'll tell you this story. Jane won't mind. We went to see Kylie Minogue at where was it? Was it the NEC or Manchester? Huge venue, fabulous. And I remember the lovely Joe Rembrandt said to me, "It's a brilliant concert, but there's a really special part. But I'm not going to tell you because when it happens, you'll be surprised." So I was like, "Oh, fantastic!" So there we were, sitting in the seats. And there's always one song at a concert, doesn't matter who it is, where you go, "Oh, I'll nip to the loo in this one," because you've either heard it before or it's a cover. So that happened. Jane went, "I'm just going to get some water." I said, "Okay, off you go. I'm sure everything will be fine." Jane goes off to get some water. Then Kylie Minogue, this man comes on the stage. His wings expand out. Kylie gets on
Wow.
his back. He flies across the whole of the audience. She's on his back singing away. The wings are going up, the wings are going down. He goes all the way to the end. He turns round, he flies all the way back and lands on the stage. And everyone's like, "Oh," and Jane walks in just after he lands on the stage and she says, "What did I miss?" I couldn't tell her.
Oh,
I just said nothing.
no. Nothing much happened. I noticed you were
Nothing
at
much
Human League
happened.
last night.
Yeah, that was
Was it last
fabulous.
night or the night before? Yeah.
Night before last,
Yeah.
night before last. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was cold, but it was windy, but brilliant. But
Yeah.
Birmingham City Centre, oh, it was a nightmare for traffic.
Yeah.
But it was a great
Yeah.
gig,
Yeah. We
great
saw
gig.
them at the Sunshine
Yeah,
Festival last summer and they were very, very good. Yeah.
yeah,
Very
just
good.
superb. I love them. As I love you, my dear. Good luck with the book, the projects, and
Thank you.
everything
I'll keep you
else.
posted.
I will keep an eye out for you on Hobby Maker and Sewing Street and Handmade with Hayley as well.
Fabulous. Thank you. And it's lovely to
Uh,
see everybody.
yeah,
So
and come on again soon.
I will. Well,
All right then, Hayley. I'll see you. So I'll press
do
remove.
you kick me out?
I'll kick you out. Yeah, I'll just say that
I'll
and
go
I'll
and have a
change.
brew then.
Bye. Oh, that was a lovely Hayley Green. Gosh, we've known each other for years, 20 years of shopping telly in one way or another. So, lots and lots of history there, and lots of stories to tell, and a little insight into, what Hayley does in her spare time. So, without further ado, Ali, if you're there, press the button or tap on the screen. The little icon should be there, or it could be there down the end of your screen, and we'll bring the lovely Ali on. Lizzie Gadget, you're watching. Hello, hello, Chloe Bell. How are you? Lovely lady. Hello, Wendy. I hope you're well. Hello, Karen. I'm just going back through some of the comments because I can't get them up on my iPad for some reason. Helen, nice to see you, and Rosemary, and all the hedgehog rescue. Molly has lots to say. That was a hedgehog that Hayley rescued. So that is absolutely fantastic. Doing very well. Look after hedgehogs because they're not hibernating at the moment because of the warm weather. They're still out there. Some are hibernating, but a lot are out there. So please look after them. Right, let's go to approve. Let's send the invitation to our lovely Ali Reeve, who's coming up and appearing on your screens. Looks like right now, there she is.
Hello.
Hello, lovely lady.
Hey, I made the dogs jump, by the way. They just all jumped up because I said hello.
Oh, how are you, Ali?
I'm all right. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Every time I've seen you at Highlight Crafts, you've either been on or I'm just going on.
Yeah.
We've never really had that
It
exchange,
was just
have
like,
we?
hi, that's it.
Hiya. How are you though? After, I don't really want to talk too much about what happened at Crate and Craft because we're starting to move on now. We're
Yeah.
starting to move in directions, let's say. But how are you after everything that's happened? Because it can be quite turbulent.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
obviously we were out of the country when it happened.
Oh gosh, how did
So
you
we were on a
find
time
out?
difference. A phone call just after we'd sailed into New York.
Mm.
We were about to get off the ship. So it's
What
like,
a way!
nope.
What a way to find out!
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was then, but that gave us time to think what we could do and put plans in action and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then it was just a case of just pulling all our ideas and all the things that we'd wanted to do but had been too busy with and things like that. So things like online workshops and regular Facebook Lives and stuff like that. I'm about
Yeah.
to be interrupted, I think.
Oh, that's okay. Simon Stone's watching, by the way. Hello, Simon. Oh, who dat?
This is
Who's that?
This is Marvin. He's
Hello,
looking.
Marvin.
He says hi.
Hello, Marvin. Hello, my baby. Oh,
I've got headphones in, so we can't hear you. He's
it's
like she's talking to herself. She's gone mad.
bless him. How many dogs have you got?
2. The other one's asleep on the floor. I won't show you him because I haven't swept the floor.
Oh. So what have you been up to today, Ali?
Today I've been helping Paul with his business, so I had to go to the NEC to collect a load of games that he hired out for a Fit Fest at the weekend.
Fit Fest. What's a Fit Fest?
It's a big event at the NEC for all the weightlifting and all the sort of athletics and sports.
Oh, Fit.
Yeah. So
Fit.
yeah, so we provided all the games, the chess and the pool and the basketball and stuff when they were chilling out time. So
Wow.
so it's weird seeing the NEC not as a craft show.
Yeah, it must be when there's other shows on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you go to the big craft show that's just it was the big we were there, weren't we?
Yeah, you were
Yeah, I
on
was there with Highlight Crafts.
Yeah.
I was with
No,
Highlight Crafts,
I
yeah.
was actually teaching a workshop that day, so no, I didn't get to the NEC.
Oh. Now, there might be a few people, Ali, who are watching at the moment. It's got lots of different people from all kinds of different viewing sections, which is great. And they might not know your background or your history, stamps away. So can we just delve into that, really, how you first got into craft yourself?
Well, I've always crafted since day dot, but I was a early years and primary school teacher.
Okay.
And I was working in a nursery, and we went to the education show and we saw this amazing machine that was the Ellison letterpress, which is the big Ellison die cutter.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with it because I thought, all I could do with my classroom and stuff. And it was really expensive. So they said, well, we're bringing out a little personal one coming out in November called the Sizzix.
Oh.
And I bought the first one in the UK.
How long ago was that?
So that was 2003. 2002.
20,
But just a little note for
20
Hayley. That's a quick cuts.
is it?
I didn't go
looks
out the
like
drawer.
looks like bolt cutters.
Yeah.
So that's about 21 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the deal was that Paul said you can have as many dyes as you want if you make things to sell using it, and then you can buy more stuff for the classes and for my kids in nursery. And it got to the point where all of a sudden that was making more money than my wages, so
Wow.
I gave up the teaching, well, of little kids, and yeah, started making and selling stuff. And then it's like, well, if we're making that, you need paper, you need glue, you need stamps, and it snowballed from there. And yeah, that was the start of it.
You've got a very distinctive style, though, Ali. You know, when
Yeah.
anybody talks about mixed media, whenever anybody talks about grunge, they think about you. And not
Yeah.
you as a person. Oh, that grungy Ali.
Yeah.
No,
Well, you'll see sitting behind me is one of the sort of symbols of what I do. There's a
yeah.
womble sitting there.
It's true, and we love you for that, and we love your style. So was that your style way back when, 20 odd years ago, when you started to get into craft, or is that
It
something
was
that's developed?
it's developed more, but if I look back to what I used to do, even when I was being creative as a kid, it was all very much that, the sort of the recycling and that kind of thing, and texture and
Hmm.
interest. Always had a love of Jules Verne, which is obviously steampunk,
Yeah,
two of the
yeah,
best. Yeah, so it's always sort of branched from that. Yeah, so I think in terms of styles changing, I think I've gained in confidence to not follow the norm.
yeah,
Because when you first start out, you look around at what other people are doing and do your take on it. And
yes.
I look back at some of the stuff I made back in those early days, and it's very sort of not me.
Mm,
And then it's only when you start to get that confidence to go, well, actually, everybody's doing that. Let's do something different. But that
mm.
takes a big leap of faith, just like Hayley was saying, because
Yeah.
there is that whole thing of what if somebody doesn't like it?
Have you ever watched the Terminator movies?
Yeah.
So, so I would say Linda Hamilton in the first one
Yes.
is you setting out in
Yeah. Yeah.
crafts, and then the scene when Linda Hamilton comes up like this and she's all ripped and ready to go.
Yeah.
That's you doing your grunge.
Yeah. So that's it. And it's like knowing that, and also having the sort of thing that does you accepting that it's not going to be for everybody is very liberating as well, because if you try and do something to please everybody, you're just going to end up being disappointed, because there'll always be people that, and that's what makes people amazing, because everybody's different.
Yeah, and you are different, and the products that you bring are a little bit different as well, because you see things differently,
Yeah.
what you use and how you use them. So one way that somebody is using gesso to paint something to give it a key, you'll see it in completely another way.
Yeah, I'll see that if I heat it, it bubbles up, and or if I mix corn flour with it, it will crackle. Some of that comes from, I love it when science and creativity mix, which is why I love glass fusing and things like that. But knowing why something does it. So why does distress ink do what it does? Why does mica do what it actually means, that you get more out of the product. But
Yeah.
a lot of it also comes about because I'm very impatient. So if I've left something at work, like my crackle paste, I'll look around to see if I've got something that I can use to make it. Hence why the kitchen cupboard gets raided.
So were you a science teacher then, or is that just something you're
Early
interested
years,
in?
no, early years. So you did everything really.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
also on the same note, that's where a lot of things, like that's it was back in my teaching days, that you use shaving foam for marbling, or you'd make a puff paint using shaving foam and glue and things like that. So a lot of my recipes started off as ones I used in my classroom, and then adapted them to be, you know, sort of more adult things like ink instead of food coloring, or poster paint, as we
Yeah,
used to use a lot of. So yeah, that's sort of the only difference. I've tweaked them a little bit.
yeah. And what's your favorite product to use?
In paper crafting and mixed media, embossing powder, especially ultra
Okay.
thick.
So if you were to have three items with you, and you were not going to be able to use anything else, or you could add to it. What are your three main items that you would say your staple?
Black gesso, and always black, not white, because colour
Ah,
pops better on black. Um,
okay.
yeah, I find white makes colours a little insipid, and whereas if you use black and then you put like your micas, a mica and an embossing powder, and then I'd be happy. I'd be happy with all of that.
Yeah, I actually the robin that I painted. That was on a black
Yeah.
canvas. So yeah, I get yeah. Just looking at it, the colours do pop really well, actually. So yeah, oh, that's interesting. But you are the queen, of course, of all kinds of cutting up sponges and just
Oh,
reaching,
yeah.
almost like. Do you know who MacGyver is? The
Yes.
TV series.
I
Yeah,
used to love that TV series, but I think it also comes. Oh, I lost my dad in 2017,
mm,
but I think in what I do now, he would probably be most proud of me, because that's how we were raised, to sort of, make, not even make do, but it's like you wouldn't have to have necessarily the most expensive of something. You'd find something that would do the job,
yeah,
and like even in the glass fusing workshop I did at the weekend, we had butter knives for moving the glass around, because it does the job brilliantly. And
yeah.
it's that kind of attitude, I suppose, I have.
I think I'm very similar in that way. I'm impatient like you.
Yeah.
So if I don't have something in front of me, like a spatula to do it, I'll get a piece of hard card that
Yeah.
will be like a spatula. So much so that I remember we had these little mini conifer trees in the garden, and we needed to get rid of them. I don't like cutting down trees, but sometimes the needs must, because they get into the drains and things. And I remember going out with a carving knife and I just started doing
Yeah.
this. And then all of a sudden, 2 hours later, I've cut down three little mini conifer trees with a carving knife.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you get stuck into things, you just got to do it, haven't you?
Yeah, and that's like some of my best recipes in craft have come about because a I didn't have I didn't have what I needed, and
Mm.
B, time to craft is so precious. You don't want to waste any time looking for something else. So that's why I say corn flour features a lot. And the first time I realised it crackled gesso was actually a pure accident. I needed to put gesso through a stencil, and of course it bleeds underneath because it's a little bit runny. And I thought, well, I've got corn flour here, that thickens gravy, so surely it's going to thicken gesso, was my logic. I
Uh,
know you cook it.
let's say hello to Lou Sims that's joined us, another
Hello.
lover of the mixed media
Yes.
style. When you have that style, we have a lot of people that came to Create and Craft and Hobby Maker and Highlight Crafts that love their mixed media, two different mediums together. Do you do you get ideas from one another? When
Oh
you're a
yeah.
certain crafter of a certain style, do you swap and exchange and watch and use people's,
I
different
think
shared
I think we
ideas?
I think we all do that to a certain degree, but it's also a bit like a family recipe, because 10 people could make spaghetti bolognese, but they all make it slightly differently. They all put their own twist on it. So if you gave 10 mixed media crafters the exact same stuff and even showed them sort of something, they would all put their own stance on it. But sometimes you just need that little
Yeah,
kickstart, the spark of the idea. And that's why teaching workshops is so enjoyable, because you pick up ideas from other people. And I think if you become, what do they call it, is it gatekeeping, where you
I
hold
think
on
so.
to things, I think
Yeah,
you're limiting yourself as well, because the more you share, the more people share back, and
yeah,
you grow ideas. But even if you think of like the die cutters as an example, you know Sizzix started with theirs, and if nobody else had looked, we wouldn't have what we have today.
that's true, actually. Yeah. I mean, the shared idea is a greater idea, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because it's like a snowball,
it
and
is.
it just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
And everybody will, if just one person sits there and goes, right, okay, to do mixed media, you put gesso over something, how would we ever know that if you spray mica sprays on top of embossing powder and then heat it, you get little craters in it? You'd never know that. You wouldn't discover these things if nobody had that, that shared idea, because you just will bounce off each other.
What is your fondest memory of crafting on television? Because I mean, how long have you been working with Create and Craft
Two,
and Highlight Crafts now that you're working
2000,
with?
2009, I started on Create and Craft. The 1st of
Wow,
April 2009. Yeah.
brilliant.
Nothing like doing your first live show on April Fool's Day.
2009. I think that's 2 years before I started working at Ideal
I
World,
re
I
I
think.
remember
Or
you because I used to see you a lot in the green room
yes,
when you were doing the tech and stuff like that. But yeah, I remember Hayley, the squeezy cards, just the she used to have to say about the squeezy gusset used to just make me laugh. Um, but there's so many because it's all the little bits and it's the little bits and pieces. But we did have a particular rubber stamp called Tiddles the
yeah.
cat, and I did a show with Dean. Um, I mean, how we didn't get booted off the air, I don't know, because it was just hilarious. But also, I can't remember if it was that show, but somebody had said to me, "Whatever you do, just don't get into fits of giggles. You know what Dean's like. You don't get into fits of giggles." So I kept a deadpan face the entire show, which made it even funnier for everybody because I was just completely blanking him because otherwise I was going to lose it completely. So
Hilarious.
there's yeah, but it's just there's so many, and the more you think about it, the sadder it is that that's gone. But
Yeah,
we have all got all those amazing memories and the connections, the networking and stuff
yeah,
for
yeah,
people
yeah.
that
And it's
yeah,
important to keep that up. It's
yeah,
important to keep those connections, and that's why I'm doing the Facebook Lives, because it's a
yeah.
really nice way of just bringing people back together. Quite an eclectic mix as well, which is absolutely fantastic. Who would you like to see on my Facebook Live?
Oh, let's think.
I
Well,
shall
Lou
write it
Sims,
down.
Lou Sims.
Lou Sims has been on.
Yep. Lou Withers.
She's
Um,
been on, but I get her
yep.
back. I'm writing it down.
Yeah. Joe Channon,
Oh, I'm going to
because
get Joe Channon.
because
Yes, absolutely.
I haven't seen her for years.
In fact, hold fire. I've still got my microphone on. I'm just walking over here talking about Joe Channon. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is by Joe Channon.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
Isn't that lovely? Look at the
Yeah,
crackle. Yeah.
you can't beat a bit of crackle.
Oh, Joe is so good at mixed media. And I love this. And she says, "Oh, you can have it." And I was like, "Oh my days, that's
Yeah,
amazing."
yeah,
I think I've had this now for must be about 7 years. 7
yeah.
years. I love it. Yeah, Joe Channon. I'm getting in touch with her, Joe Channon.
Oh, there's so many people, and the more you think about it, the sort of almost the sadder you become because it's like, oh, I might not see them again.
Mm, yeah,
Um,
that is sad. That's a sad part. I mean, with the craft shows that we have, like at the NEC and things like that, some of them will be just on stalls, so we get to walk around and say hello to people, which we did at the NEC show last time. But yeah, it's because we had, all the different, we had Create and Craft going. There was, well, Hobby Maker wasn't around Create and Craft when it was at Neen Road,
no,
but lots of guests were coming in and out the door, so we
yeah.
used to get to see a lot of people. And yeah, it is sad. It is sad, but it's good that we're still in touch, you
Yeah,
know?
and I think what doesn't, knock you down completely does make you stronger. And it has made us all think of different things to do
Yeah,
because did we all get a little bit sort of like not complacent, that's not the right word, but did we get too comfortable in and we didn't look for other things to
yeah,
do? We didn't look for
probably.
other outlets and things like that because all the things that we're doing are things. Sorry, Marvin's kicking me in case you wonder, and he keeps wrapping his paw around the cable. If I go quiet, you know why.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, I think there was things that we'd said we'd do for years and never did them because well,
yeah,
don't need to kind of thing. So I think sometimes we need to sort of shake it up a little bit.
yeah. Well, it's certainly being shook up
Oh,
now. Um,
definitely.
when are you doing your online workshops?
So the first one is going to be the 19th of January.
Okay,
And we're doing it so that you can either just pay to just do the workshop and use your own stuff, or we've got kits so that you can do exactly what I do.
okay.
Um,
And
Sorry,
and how?
he's just trying to steal the show.
Oh, he's beautiful. And how do people get in touch with you to take part in that?
Contact me through my Facebook page, or
Okay.
it's on our website as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's just something because and it's never ever going to replace my in-person workshops. I love them too much
Yeah.
because there's nothing more enjoyable than a room full of crafters all bouncing ideas off each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a way of reaching out to people that I wouldn't necessarily be able to get to otherwise.
Yeah. Now, the Womble in the background, you say that that is very true to yourself.
Yes,
Is it, who is it? Is it
that's Tober
Orinoco? Is it
Moray.
Tobermory?
They're all
Um,
about the room somewhere.
I used to have a toothbrush holder with Tobermory on there. Now, what would you say is the best thing that you have wombled?
Oh gosh, I've wombled so many things. Probably my proudest is my bottle, my plastic bottle that I sanded to make it look like it was sea glass, and then made
Oh,
that into a book. Um, but
oh.
yeah, all sorts gets wombled up, and the fact that I make paper from junk mail and stuff like that, it's just wombled through and through.
I've made some paper with you. I think it's fantastic. Do you
Yeah,
remember with the shows, which again, being able to make your own, it's like making your own bread for a meal at home. To make your own paper is fabulous.
yeah.
So do you still have those on your website as well if people want
Yeah,
to buy
and
them?
we do workshops on that. That's one of the things we did on the cruise was I made paper on board a ship.
Yeah,
That has its own challenges, shall we say? But that's amazing watching people because the great thing on the cruises is the people aren't necessarily crafters. Well, not when they start anyway, because they're just doing it as it's something to
yeah,
offer,
yeah,
offered on board. But to see them get involved and enjoy it and then want to take it home is just amazing. But yeah, all of that we still do. And I say on a Wednesday I do Facebook Live as well, which is sort of a bit of a me showing a few products and
yeah,
lots of demos and techniques and stuff like that, just because that's the side that I miss.
yeah, yeah. A lot of people don't know you do cruises, actually. How many cruises have you done so far?
Uh, 7 now, I think.
Wow. I mean, that kind of is like almost for some people like a dream job.
Oh, it
You're
is.
on a,
It's that's our bonus, shall
yeah.
we say?
And
Yeah.
whereabouts have you been on your cruises?
So we've done the Canaries and Mediterranean, but the sort of exciting ones, we've done Canada twice now.
Oh,
Just come back from Boston and New York and Canada. We've done Iceland, Norway. They were the sort of
wow.
really fun. And then we had one last year, which was just around the British Isles, and I got to go to Tobermory, so I was well chuffed.
Oh,
That was a
that's
lovely one
fabulous.
because to see the UK from another angle was lovely.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. Oh, that's a bonus, isn't it?
Oh,
Um,
that's our bonus, definitely.
oh, that is brilliant. Who knew there was crafting cruises? Although,
Oh, I know.
although Crit and Craft, I remember did do a crafting cruise,
Yes,
but we won't.
Because Christine Bell from Pinflower obviously comes with us on the cruises,
Yeah.
and yes, she has memories. I'd say. I think that's a fair description. Memories of that cruise.
Oh dear, what a fantastic life though to be able to do that, jump on a cruise and do your crafting that you love as well,
Yeah.
which is brilliant. What do you do to relax though? Is it a craft that you use to relax? Do you read? You go out walking?
Obviously, walking. A certain little person leaning against me here is my downtime every day. So when
Yeah.
I'm out on the fields with him and Tonka, who's on the floor over there. But my craft unwind is anything to do with glass, whether it's lamp
Oh,
work or glass fusing. I have got a lathe at the other end of the room for wood turning, but I find that a little almost wasteful because with glass, anything that you chip off, you can do something with.
yeah.
But obviously, with wood, once you start taking it off,
Is that a big
it's sawdust.
machine? Is that a big machine?
It's not that big. It's about 4 foot across, my lathe.
I'd like to do some wood turning. I don't know
It's
why. I've kind of
the
got,
it's lovely because the natural when you start oiling it and sanding it, but
yeah.
it's the bit that when you're cutting away this big lump of wood and that's all the stuff sort of flying off. I've got to come up with a project to use sawdust and then I'll be happy.
You could make like I don't know what you could make I don't know if you soaked it in water, would it be almost like a paper mache style.
Well, obviously you
Don't know.
can
I'm doing that.
process it. I know what you mean. You can process it down to paper, but that's quite a lot. But a lot of people set it into resin, but then you're using your resin. I mean, I have inserted resin into a crack on a piece of wood and then just turned that. That was fun.
I bet.
But yeah,
I bet.
but that I think wood turning's more if I need to sort of vent, chop away at some wood.
I bet you did that a few weeks ago. Wood turning away.
Yeah, I'm down to matchsticks now.
Ali, so where can we see you after tonight? It's been lovely chatting with you, but where can we head to find your products, to find you, and what we got coming up?
Right, so on the 17th of December, I'm back up at Highlight.
Yep.
I do Facebook Live on my Facebook page every Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Okay.
And not saying too much, but I might bump into Hayley West on maybe around about the 11th of January. That's a top secret piece.
Hayley West.
Hayley West.
19th of January.
11th of January.
Hayley West. I'm writing this down like Cluedo. Hayley West. 11th of January.
I will be driving along the M6, M42, if that would help you any.
So, you got some hobbies that you might want to tell us about?
I might be making something.
That's a hobby, but you're going to be making.
Yeah.
Is that official? Have we just broke that news?
Yeah, it might be a bit of a breaking news. It's official, but we've
Is
not
it official?
We've not announced it yet because we were going to wait till after Christmas. But there you go.
Well,
that's fine. I did check I was allowed to.
So we can actually officially say it right now.
Yeah.
You are going to be on Hobby Maker on the 11th of January. Superb. Oh, that is great news. Oh, congratulations. That is great news. And that's going to be a regular thing, right?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
The funny, you would have laughed though when I was over there for the meeting. Nigel walked in, obviously lovely Nigel May, walked in, sort of said hello because I was with Andy Love. Yeah. And he sort of looked, carried on walking. Paul, my husband, was like, a bit odd. I went, no, he hasn't seen me. He hasn't twigged. Yeah. And then he suddenly realised, he's like,
oh, that is super. Well, I can't believe it. We've broke the news. How amazing is that? Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And I really look forward to seeing you on there. They're a great bunch of people. And you know most of them anyway, don't you?
Yeah.
Just like,
I mean, it's the same as when you go up to Highlight. It's just like, it's just like visiting friends, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And, people need to know that we are a huge circle of people. And we just all come in and out of each other's lives all the time. That's fantastic. I'm glad we broke the news. I had no idea.
I mean, to be fair, it was like, I mean, sort of maybe like sort of hinted to people at class and stuff like that, but no, we haven't sort of. And then I've suddenly realised it's coming round really quick because at the time at the time it was like 8 weeks when it was all set up. It was 8 weeks away, and it's like, okay, that's a bit. And then it's like, this is coming around really quickly.
3 weeks, isn't it? 3 weeks, something like that.
Don't say that.
Well, Claire says yay. Rapkin says yay. Margaret says Hobby Maker yay. Hayley West says it's in her diary. I hope so, Hayley. We've got Debbie watching as well. Lucy is watching, Sue. So everybody knows now you're going to be on Hobby Maker on the 11th of January. Oh, I'm well chuffed about that. I'm really happy. That's excellent news. That really, really is. Well done, you. And well done, Hobby Maker, for getting you. Absolutely. What took them so long? Right. Ali, will you come on again?
Of course.
I'm sure you're going to have lots to talk about.
Well, apart from anything else, this one wants to. It wants to speak to its public.
Oh, absolutely.
I have to say, though, if ever you're on with Leonie, he goes absolutely mental because every time he used to come to the telly to pick me up, he would hang out of the window of the car looking for her because she'd sometimes come out and fuss him.
Oh, he's beautiful. Don't we love dogs? Don't we just love them? Well, I'm going to leave you in peace, Ali. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for the news break. I love it.
All right.
I'm so happy for you. Really am. Good luck with that. I'll be watching.
Thank you very much.
everyone else will be watching as well. So we'll see you again.
Yes.
And I bid you mwah, good
Good
night,
night.
Ali. See you later.
Night.
Bye. So that really is stamps away. Do you like that? There you go. Wow. So that is breaking news. I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea. So I'm really happy about that. January the 11th on Hobbymaker, Ali, and Stamps Away. So that is brilliant. If you've never seen it before, please, please, please tune in, because her style of crafting is amazing. It's achievable, it's exciting, it's different, and it's something maybe you've always wanted to do but didn't know quite where to start. And Ali's going to hold your hand all the way along. So congratulations. That is great news. And I didn't know, because I had Hayley on tonight and Ali. What are the odds of that? What are the odds of that? I'm going to go and do the lottery. Is that tonight or tomorrow? Who knows? It's been lovely chatting with you all. I'm going to let you go now. I think my dinner's coming out the oven in a moment. This will be available on Facebook, Janice Phillips TV. If you can follow me, that would be absolutely fantastic, because I need to get some more followers. Oh, big thumbs up there. Thank you very much. Also, if you can go to YouTube, it's Janice Phillips TV. I'll put another link on my Facebook tomorrow for you. That's Janice Phillips TV on YouTube. I need to get to 1,000 subscribers. Now, in order to subscribe, it's free to do so, and you don't get bombarded with anything unless there is a little bell that you can tick, and then you get alerts when I add new stuff. There are some bloopers on there. I'm going to add some more bloopers as well, because I've got plenty. So go and have a look at those. You don't have to watch anything if you don't want to, but if you could help me out by becoming a subscriber, that would be ace, because then I can get to 1,000 views and I can start to go live on YouTube. And then we can keeping everyone together, because that's what it's all about here on Facebook Live with Friends. It's been lovely having your company. So I'm going to bid you goodbye. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Judith. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Debbie. Of course, thank you to Hayley and Ali for coming on the show. Thank you to Margaret. Thank you to Sally Ann. Thank you to Sheila. Thank you to Emma, and everyone else who has watched, and everyone else that's watching on repeat. So I bid you good night. But tomorrow we have got Leanne Chivers. I know, I'm so excited. So excited. I've not seen her for ages. Or is that tomorrow? Is that Wednesday? No, it's tomorrow. And we've got Abs as well. So Autour de Moi will be here tomorrow. The amount of times I've practiced that name. So that's going to be super excited. And I'm sure both of them have got lots and lots to tell you. Lots and lots to tell you. So I'll bid you good night, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much for watching.